People that follow my stuff know I generally write on nutrition, supplements, training, and other topics that are more science-based than subjective topics, like what's covered during this article. I made a decision to shuck my science geek persona and write of a subject I do know are going to be helpful to thousands of would-be and need-to-be fitness models. As well a known, hardcore, science-based no BS writer, why I'm writing what some will perceive as a fluff article. Over the years I even have gotten hundreds, perhaps thousands, of gals that inquire from me via email, letters, or face-to-face, how do I become a fitness model? Well, you've been within the business an extended time, surely you of all people should know. I buy this from newbies and that I get this from women that are at it a short time but are unable to break in effectively. The fact is, I even have been within the fitness, health, and bodybuilding biz an extended time, and though I'm referred to as a science and nutrition-based guru type, I even have trained many a fitness athlete, and judged fitness and figure bikini shows for the NPC, Fitness America, Fitness USA, and other federations, also as given marketing and business advice to all or any kinds of athletes, including fitness models. So, it isn't as far-fetched because it might sound that I'm getting to use this space to hide a non-scientific topic, which is, how one goes about being a fitness model. This article is going to be useful to both experienced and novice types looking to break in to the biz. If you're already a knowledgeable and successful fitness model, I'm sure you'll still glean some useful information from this text. First, the bad news: there's nobody thanks to becoming a successful fitness model. There's no single path or magic secret. There are, however, some key things an individual can do to greatly improve their chances of making it within the fitness biz as a model, and maybe using that success as a launchpad to greater things, like movies, TV, etc. Several of the highest fitness models, Trish Stratus and Vicky Pratt, come to mind, but there are many others, have gone on to careers in entertainment of all types. Bottom line, though there's no magic secret to being successful as a fitness model, this text is going to be about as on the brink of a blueprint for fulfillment as you'll find. Do I want to compete? This is an issue I asked all the time, and it isn't a simple one to answer. In fact, the solution is, drum roll, yes and no. The person has got to decide why they're competing within the first place to answer that question. For instance, does one got to compete if your goal is to be a successful fitness model? The answer is not any. Many of today's well-known fitness models haven't competed, or they competed during a few small shows and it had been clearly not a part of their success as fitness models. However, competing does have its potential uses. One of them is exposure. At the upper-level shows, there'll often be editors, publishers, photographers, supplement company owners, and other business people. So, competing can improve your exposure. Also, competing can add up if you're trying to create a business that's associated with your competing or will enjoy you winning a show. For example, say you've got a personal training gym you're trying to create. Sure, having the title of saying Ms. Fitness America, or winning the NPC Nationals and being an IFBB pro, will help your reputation and therefore the notoriety of your business. There are many scenarios where it might help to possess a show for a business or other endeavors. On the opposite hand, it must be realized that winning a show doesn't in any way guarantee success within the business end, and it really may be a business of being a fitness model. Also, it's extremely important to understand that it's normal that the 4th or 6th or 8th place finisher during a fitness or figure show will get more press than the winner. Why? Though the winner may need what it took to win that show, it's often other gals the editor, publishers, supplement companies, etc., feel is more marketable. I have seen it repeatedly where the winner was shocked to seek out she didn't get nearly the eye she expected, and other girls who placed lower have gotten attention within the sort of photos shoots, magazine coverage, etc. Something to stay in mind once you ask yourself the important question, do I want to compete, and if so, why am I competing? Now, if you compete for the fun of it, then, by all means, choose it, but the above is that concentrate on competing because it relates to the business aspect of being a fitness model. Right body, wrong federation. Okay, so after reading the above you've decided you're going to compete or will compete again. If you are doing not plan to compete, you'll skip this section. The foremost important mistake I see here is numerous gals have the right body for the wrong federation. Each federation has its own judging criteria, and a competitor will do poorly simply because they didn't bother to research which show would be best fitted to them. Why? Because she wasn't what we were instructed to look for and didn't fit the standards. After the show, I informed her that she looked great, but this won't the federation for her. I told her she had much more of an NPC-type body, where slightly more muscle, athletic build, and fewer body fat is rewarded. The following week I want to be judging an NPC fitness, figure, and bodybuilding show, and there she was. How did she do? She won the entire show with all judges voting her favorite unanimously. Conversely, if your somatotype tends to be more rounded and toned, but with slightly more body fat, wider but not fat, hips, you will be better off competing in, say, the Fitness America pageants. If you're going to compete, 1. Determine exactly what the judging criteria is for that federation, and 2. You've to form a choice if you truly have the athletic abilities to compete during a fitness competition, which requires a routine, or a figure bikini competition. I often see women who would do well during a figure show but really don't have the athletic abilities do the routines required to be competitive with other athletes within the show. Some shows will allow you to undertake to both competitions and a couple of won't. Networking 101 Do's and Don'ts. In numerous respects, this is often the planet that can make or break you in any business, and yet, people within the fitness industry do an amazingly poor job at it. If you are doing not network and market yourself properly, you'll almost ditch having any real success as a fitness model, or successful in virtually any business. For the sake of space, we'll persist with fitness. When I first began, I want to be a self-marketing machine. I could be found at every show I assumed might be an opportunity, walking the aisles of trade shows, bodybuilding shows, fitness show, al. I gave out zillion cards which I took 1 million home with me, and followed informed each and every one. I visited as many industry-related meetings, outings, parties, etc. as I could get into. I now have the reputation and knowledge within the industry that I don't get to attend such a show unless I desire it, or have meetings, but they were quite helpful within the beginning. I am always amazed at the number of fitness models who contact me who haven't even been to the Arnold Classic Fitness Weekend, or Mr. Olympia, or the trade shows a bit like the NNFA Expo West al. If you'd wish to form it within the fitness business, you sure as hell had better treat it a form of a business. I have seen many a pretty girl who wants to be a fitness model who thinks if they stand there looking pretty long enough, someone goes to provide to put their face on the duvet of a magazine. Information: there are many beautiful women out there, and to be noticed, you've to hustle to urge that business like everyone else by networking your butt off or having an honest agent, if you'll afford such a thing, who is doing it for you. Pick a couple of major industry shows to attend, some of which were mentioned above, and attend them per annum. Have an idea of an attack of exactly how you propose to plug yourself and network. Many fitness models, bodybuilders, etc. see a show together with a big party. If that's you, then celebrate at the party, but don't think you're really marketing yourself as a serious business person or athlete. Another thing that always amazes me is that the number of fitness models who either haven't any business cards or have some cards they printed abreast of their bubble jet printer at home. They inquire from me to assist them or whatever, and that I say, "Give me your card," and that they check out me like, "I am so pretty I shouldn't need a card, you fool." This attitude turns off editors, photographers, writers, and industry people faster than if they acknowledged you were really a transvestite. Don't roll in the hay. For each pretty girl out there who thinks the planet owes them a favor, there are 100 who are able to act like professionals. Ever wonder why some fitness model you recognize is doing better than you, albeit you recognize you're prettier than her? Which will be why, never ever attend a show to network without good cards, bios, and professionally done head and body shots you'll give to said editors, publishers, photographers, industry types, etc. Don't stand around looking pretty assuming they're going to find you. Find them first, and introduce yourself. And in fact, it should go without saying you ought to be in fitness and have something of a tan to seem your best. You want to travel to the shows and parties? Fine, but roll in the hay privately after the work is completed, and do not make a fool out of yourself at some industry-sponsored get-together. Hell, I used to be virtually poured into a cab eventually years Arnold Classic after getting to a sushi place with some well-known industry types and corporation owners, you know who you are, but a minimum of nobody saw me. We had our own little private get-together after the show to set free. Let me offer you one final world example of how to not market yourself. Last year I used to be on retainer as a consultant to a mid-sized supplement company. The owner of the corporate asked me if I knew a few fitness model types that would work his booth for a fair. He offered to pay their flights, room, and food plus $1,000 each for the time's work. The two girls were told to be at the booth 9 a.m. sharp. The night before at the hotel, I saw the two girls getting into a cab at 11 p.m. approximately dressed to kill, clearly on their answer to party. Subsequent day they showed up at the booth an hour and a half late and hungover. What were the results of this? 1. It embarrassed me to without stopping as I had recommended them to the corporate owner. 2. They might never get work from that company again. 3. They might never get any work from me again. And 4. They might not get a reference from either folk for other jobs. I see this sort of thing all the time within the fitness biz, and it isn't limited to fitness models. Amazingly, a couple of weeks after the show they emailed me, and therefore the company owner eager to know when their next job would be. Amazing. Who loves you, baby? If there's one universal truth, it's that the camera either loves you or it doesn't. Any professional photographers will tell you this. For a few unknown reasons, some people are very photogenic and a few aren't. Truth be known, there are some documented fitness models, who shall remain nameless as they might probably smack me subsequent time they saw me, who aren't all that attractive face to face. It's just that the camera loves them and that they are very photogenic, but not terribly pretty face to face. Conversely, I even have seen the reverse many times, a woman who is far better looking face to face than in photographs. Such is that the fate of the one that wants to be a model of any kind, including a fitness model. If you discover you're not very photogenic, keep working with different photographers until you discover one that basically captures you well and pays that photographer handsomely. Now, to be bluntly honest, there also are some want-to-be fitness models who aren't unphotogenic, they're just fugly. There are some people out there who haven't any business trying to be fitness models. It doesn't make them bad people, it just means they have to snap out of their delusions and find a profession they're better fitted to, like radio personality. How do I buy within the magazines? This section kind of incorporates everything I even have covered above and adds during a few additional strategies. For instance, as I discussed before, competing in fitness shows and/or figure bikini shows can increase your exposure, thus getting the eye of some magazine or photographer. Networking correctly at the varied trade shows can also have an equivalent effect, and in fact having an honest portfolio done by a photographer that basically captures your look, an honest internet site, etc., will all increase your potential for stepping into the magazines, or getting ad work, and so on. However, all of those strategies are still somewhat passive versus active in my opinion. It's still the fitness model waiting to be discovered. As far as I'm concerned, waiting is for bus stops and pregnancy tests. Success waits for no man or woman because of the case may be. So, in any case, the above advice is taken into consideration as having another effect to getting you magazine coverage. What else is often done? For one thing, you ought to read and be conversant in all the magazines you would like to be in so you recognize who is who and what the design of the various magazines are. I can tell you immediately, if say the editor-in-chief of an honest-sized fitness or bodybuilding publications and says, "Hi, I'm the Bob Smith, what's your name?" Why should he? You ought to know who the main players are within the publications you would like to be seen in. He's doing you the favor, not the opposite way around. You ought to know who the main players are and actively seek them out, don't await them to discover you. If you check out the masthead inside any magazine, it'll tell you who the publisher is, who the editor-in-chief is then forth. The address for that magazine, and sometimes the online site and email, also can be found. What's to prevent you from looking up those names and mailing them your pictures and resume directly? Nothing, that is what. If you see a photo spread you think that is basically well done, what's to prevent you from checking out whom the photographer is and contacting them directly and sending them your pics? Nothing, that is what. My point being, you would get an opportunity within the business, make the break, don't sit there thinking it's trying to find you, because it isn't. Be proactive, not reactive. Luck is the residue of design. Achieve success intentionally. As my older brother wanted to tell me as a child once I told him I used to be too scared to invite out a reasonable girl, what's the worst which will happen? There is also the category of a person referred to as the schmo, but we'll leave that for an additional place and time. Point is, you would like to satisfy the proper people while not getting involved that group of worthless types who will only drag you down, delay you, or simply hell for the leather screw you up and over. For example, a man comes up and says he wants to shoot you for the magazines, but what does one really know of this guy? He features a camera and a few business cards, in order that makes him a photographer, right? Another thing I see is that the big web scam. I'm amazed at what percentage girls get scammed by these web idiots. The lesson here is you get what you buy, so when some person wants to create you an internet site free of charge, you're getting what you buy. Yes, there's good money to be made on the net, and therefore the net are often great for marketing yourself and making contacts, but most of it is a scam. You are happier paying an honest web designer and webmaster who has experience with other fitness model types and has references you'll ask. I cannot tell you the number of women who are screwed over by some internet thing that visited hell, just like the fan who volunteers to create a free internet site and either runs off with any money made up of the location or puts their pics on porn sites and any number of other things that made them regret like mad ever agreeing to the location within the first place.